Live-released goldfish pose a serious threat to Ontario's freshwater systems due to their potential to propagate as an invasive species. Invasive species cost the provincial government millions of dollars each year, and with the prevalence of goldfish growing in Ontario, it's time we take a proactive approach to eliminating further risks to our local wildlife. You might be wondering, how did goldfish even come to be in Ontario? Well, goldfish are by no means new to this region. In fact, they were first introduced to North America in the late 1600s, with the first official record of goldfish in the U.S. dating back to 1878, when goldfish were found in ponds in Washington, D.C. However, until recently, goldfish were not considered a problem species in the province. In the past few years, goldfish have become more and more common throughout the Great Lakes. There are three likely pathways in which goldfish have come to be introduced. First is bait bucket release. This was likely the first cause of introduction into the Great Lakes, and according to Fisheries and Oceans Canada, a whopping 51% of Canadian anglers release their unused bait live into local waterways. This issue is much larger than just the release of goldfish and has been implicated in the spread of several other invasive species. Another method of goldfish live release is through outdoor ponds. Ponds that are left open during the winter can accumulate snow, and come spring melting can flood, taking the contents of your garden pond downstream. And with 80% of backyard ponds being stocked with goldfish, you can imagine just how many are washing out of your backyard and into your lakes. Finally, as you know, goldfish are common household pets, and on occasion owners have released their unwanted pets directly into nearby waterways, and indirectly through the flushing of live fish. The live release of goldfish is only the first step in allowing a non-native species to establish as invasive. Following introduction, species must overcome several barriers in order to survive and persist. So why are live-released goldfish a problem anyway? Well, those little goldfish that you keep in a bowl at home are actually a very hardy species. If you've ever owned a goldfish, you know that they require very little effort to keep happy and healthy. This is because of their biological adaptations, which allow them to survive in environments where other species might perish. This means that goldfish have very high potential to become invasive. Goldfish can actually thrive where other species struggle to merely survive. Goldfish have two adaptations that make them particularly hardy in the Canadian Great Lakes. First, they can survive in water that has very little oxygen, and second, they can live in water ranging from 0 to 43 degrees Celsius. This means that not only can goldfish survive through the hot summers experienced in some regions of Canada, but they can even survive the harsh Canadian winter. Adding to their invasive potential is the recently observed ability of goldfish to mate and produce viable offspring with Asian carp, an extremely invasive species affecting the Great Lakes and surrounding ecosystems. This hybridization between the two species may allow introduced goldfish to transfer their hardiness genes to invasive carp species, furthering their persistence in the Great Lakes and rendering current management techniques ineffective. At this point, you might be saying, so what? Why should I care about goldfish live release? Well, the potential changes caused by goldfish are not too far off. We're already seeing changes in our local lakes and freshwater habitats. Here we can see a great blue heron gulping down a sizable goldfish. What happens to the food webs and ecosystems when predators stop eating and controlling other local species? What happens to the species that goldfish are eating and impacting directly? Changes are happening, and more are likely to follow, and they're all happening in your backyard. In particular, the invasive potential of goldfish may cause problems for species at risk, for highly valued ecosystems like our Great Lakes, and for recreational fisheries that thousands of people enjoy every year. Ultimately, we are responsible for preserving the species we love and ensuring that generations to come can enjoy the incredible and diverse wildlife we have in Ontario today. Now that you know about the issue of live-released goldfish, here's what you can do to help. Firstly, we encourage you to be proactive about goldfish release. Learn how to identify goldfish, drain your backyard pond, and prevent the potential live release. If we can keep the number of goldfish that are out there now in low numbers and limit their transport between water bodies, we might be able to prevent their invasion. Secondly, prevent the live release of goldfish into your local waterways. If you have a pet goldfish that you can no longer care for, return it to a pet store or donate it to a friend who is interested in adopting a new fish. If you're out fishing, use different sources of bait. There are plenty of equally, if not more effective baits out there. Do not release live bait when your fishing excursions are over. You never know what impact those species may have. Finally, the most important thing you can do is spread the word. Now that you know how goldfish might impact our local diversity and wildlife, do your best to educate others and prevent the goldfish invasion. If you identify goldfish in your local lake, stream, or river, contact the Invasive Species Hotline and report the sighting. Remember, if we don't work to protect the wonders and wildlife of Ontario, who will?